I took back the gift that I gave to my friend's little child. Am I right? The author of the post is listed in the description. My 26F friend, 26F, and I have known each other since nursery. When she got dumped for the first time, I was the one she called. When her father passed away, I helped her with the legal side of the funeral. When an ex stole from her, I took her to the police station and convinced my parents to let her stay with us until a new door was installed. He kicked it in. I was also the one that turned up on her door at 2 a.m. when she spontaneously miscarried in her toilet late term despite the lockdowns. I helped her clean up the aftermath. Her then BF, now husband, was abroad and couldn't come home immediately due to COVID restrictions. I also stayed with her after she was released from hospital until he arrived. We were always close, or so I thought. After COVID, she started a new job and hung out with a crowd that I don't have anything in common with. They are more of a going out and drinking and less going out and bouldering type. So I met her every other weekend, which then turned into every third weekend. And in the end, it became a once-a-month thing. I didn't mind. People grow and get new interests. But she always said that I would be her best friend no matter who else entered her life. So naturally, I was maid of honor at her wedding. Shocked doesn't cover it when I found out she was pregnant, and I was the last to know, she told me at the 5-month mark, and only because I asked her due to weight gain. However, I thought the trauma and the fact that I was there last time made her have some negative feelings about telling me, so I put it behind me. I called a few of her new friends when she was 7 months to arrange a baby shower for her, as she had over the years shared exactly what she had envisioned for it. A number of them replied and said she didn't want a baby shower and that people were going to drop off gifts at her place on the Thursday evening, this week gone. She is 8 months. I phoned her and asked if she really didn't want a baby shower, and she confirmed as much. She told me to just drop off the gifts. She asked me if I was still good for paying for the crib and accessories for it, as we had agreed upon for her first pregnancy. I said yes. Thursday, I dropped her the crib and other stuff, but her mother answered, telling me not to contact her before next week as she wasn't going to be in. I found it odd, as at this point she is in her 8th month and should be resting. Some friends texted me what I was doing Friday evening. Some of them I hadn't been in touch with for a while. On a hunch, I went to her place on Friday evening under the guise of giving her a small gift I had forgotten to give her. Her front door was decorated, and there was music playing at her house. I had to bang on the door before someone finally came and opened it. It was her mother again, and she looked bothered by my presence. She asked me what I was doing there and told me my friend was out. I pushed past her and found her sitting in her living room surrounded by her new friend groups, and some of our mutual friends too. I turned to her mother, who had followed me, and said she is here, to which this dumb bitch replied, "Oh, she must have just popped back in? Like, what the fuck?" So I left. Yesterday I went by her house and she allowed me in and tried to explain that the baby shower was not really my scene, and she tried to spare me from coming to it. It was all for my own good. I didn't buy it and kept pushing her, and in the end she confessed that her new friends weren't very fond of me and they didn't want me to be there. I told her to fuck off and told her that I hoped she would lose this baby too and then get her new friends to clean up after her and her dead baby, packed the crib and other stuff into my car and drove off. She has been texting me about it since yesterday. A few of our mutual friends that were present at the baby shower have phoned me too, but I didn't answer their calls. My brothers found it funny, but my parents told me I was being a petty asshole for taking back the gift, as in our culture and religion, you never take back gifts even if you no longer want to be friends with that person. My mother even went as far as saying that I shamed myself by my behavior, as she has now most likely told all our friend group. If I am indeed the AH, I will go back with the gift and apologize. Relevant comments before update. Commenter asks about how OOP's friendship is currently with the said friend, and it was time for OOP to have her other friends. Answer: I have other friends. I have known her the longest, and to me she always felt like a sister, and she said the same. I don't know why she changed. I didn't mind her growing apart, I mentioned as much in the OP. I feel negative feelings for her not being straight up about the party. Her first miscarriage was traumatic for her, but it was also a traumatic experience I went through for her. She lost the baby in the toilet. I drove her to the hospital, then had to go back to retrieve her dead baby from the toilet bowl as the hospital wanted to test it due to it being so late term. Later on, I realized the hospital should have sent an ambulance instead of me doing all this. I had to hand it over to the nurse because she couldn't look at her unborn son. I was also the one filing a complaint to pals about this, as she said had no energy to do it. Even her husband, then BF, and her mother wouldn't do it as they couldn't deal with the legal paperwork. After all that and many other things I did for her, she couldn't be honest and say that she didn't want me at a party. Why lie? Commenter: she's a horrible friend. To treat you like that after you have done so much for her that even her partner, mother, or herself was not ready to do. Has she ever done anything for you? Or has she just been a user? Answer: come to think of it, besides helping me with a few driving lessons, which her brother volunteered, and I declined after a handful of them because the vibe was off. Later learned he had a crush on me and I turned him down a due years later when he asked. Neither her or her family have done out of ordinary stuff for me. Update: I contacted 2 of the mutual friends who were invited and had a long talk with them as they left voice and chat messages for me wanting to talk. I got good advice from Redditors, and it seems some of you caught something I was being naive to. I was being used. These 2 mutual friends confirmed as much. The reason the mutual friends had contacted me wondering about my plans was for me to catch on that something was happening without directly telling me, because then they would have to break their word to her. They admitted it was a childish way to go about it instead of talking to me directly. Her new group of friends held it against me that she had canceled plans to go out with them at the last minute to hang out with me when their friendship was new. After the first few times, she always chose them over me as they have more in common. They also seem to be rather immature, according to our mutual friends, but they hang out with them as they are okay to be around if you want to have a good time. She is more of a party girl than me, and our mutual friend said she wanted me to stick around so she could call in favors. She had confessed as much to them, calling me the reliable, homely aunt for her soon-to-be-born baby. She even said that once the baby was older, she could leave this or other babies with me while she would time and enjoy date nights. Not wanting to believe them blindly, I did phone her to apologize, but she was more concerned about the crib and other gifts than wanting to mutually apologize for her behavior. She said she was hurt and would only forgive me if I pre-agreed to babysit for her once she was able to have fun. I asked her why she wouldn't rely on her new group for that, since she clearly preferred them. She said silly, they are not the reliable motherly types. She told me if I didn't agree, then she would be very cross with me. That ticked me off as it felt like she was scolding me like a child. I hung up. I did ask her about her mother in the beginning of the conversation, wondering why I was being treated that way when I helped her during her husband's, my friend's father, funeral. She said that her mother was hurt by my rejection of her brother, and she agreed that I could do no better than her brother. She said she was hurt that I didn't want to be her friend-in-law. She was hoping that I would be closer to her family if I married into her family, but instead I had turned him down, and he still held a flame for me. She said we are both outdoor types, so she felt insulted that I turned him down, because that meant I thought he was ugly. She has since left me a few messages wondering when I will come back with the crib, but I blocked her last night. I guess that is it. I have booked an appointment with a therapist to figure out who I am, as after some self-reflection, I seem to get drawn to people who abuse my kindness, and I take it on the chin. I have also cut off contact with other mutual friends that did attend and never contacted me. The 2 that did, I might cut off too, but I have to think it through to see if it would be beneficial for me long-term. I need to start thinking of myself and my future. To think I dumped a decent guy a few years back because she put shitty ideas about him in my head and was very needy during that time, so I had very little time for developing my own relationships. My mother apologized, and she says that despite feeling bad about what people might say, she understood it hurt me to not be supported by her. My older brother says not to be too hard on her due to our culture, but to not let others walk all over me, as he says, I have people-pleasing tendencies. He said I should have put my foot down with my friend years ago, and that he tried to hint as much, but I was not ready to hear it. Crib and some clothes has already been given away, although I still have some of the newborn stuff. One of our mutual friends that did go to the party suggested I donate it to the hospital, as there are probably new mothers who would appreciate the help. For all of you who kept having a go at me for my words, I didn't actually want her baby dead. It came out all wrong due to my emotional state. Maybe you do have the moral high ground and always watch what you say, but I doubt it. Take care all. Relevant comments. Commenter, I have to be honest that I wouldn't trust your mutual friends either. They went along with it, remember? They might have given you an extremely cryptic clue, so they claim, but that was it. Answer, I haven't forgiven them yet. Just thinking to clear my head in their pay so I don't make a my take I will regret. They could have acted better, but I could have acted better too. At the moment, I am keeping them at a distance. Okay, next story. My brother-in-law is the reason why my husband left me. I don't know what to do now. The author of the post is listed in the description. IF38 met my brother-in-law, M38, at uni. He asked me out in our first year, and I refused. He called me the C word and that I am shallow. My best friend told me that it was harmless comments from a drunken guy who got rejected. I never thought myself shallow. It was his demeanor and awkwardness that was off-putting to me. Anyway, he proved my friend right, and other than these comments, I have never felt uncomfortable during my uni years, because he never bothered me again, not even looked my way. Next time I met him was when my baby sister F28 introduced him as her BF. I didn't even recognize him at first because it was like 10 years since that day he talked to me. He was visibly annoyed that I didn't recognize him and called me a liar. The family was skeptical at first about him, but he seemed to treat my sister right, and she seemed happy. He is very rich, taking her all over the world, and he seemed kind with his too. They got married after a year of dating. They have 3 children. I met my now ex-M 45 years ago, and the only odd comment from my brother-in-law was that I was still as shallow and superficial as I was in uni. At the time, I took it as a joke, but in hindsight, when I found out the truth and started thinking back looking for red flags, this was probably a big one. He never showed any signs that he disliked my husband, and he was always decent enough, and his indifference to have a close friendship with my husband, and I didn't seem odd because he was always a recluse. A year ago, my husband came home and accused me of cheating, and he had evidence. The guy contacted him, and he had nudes, etc. of me on his phone. The guy told my husband that he didn't know at first that I was married, but as soon as he found out, he contacted my now ex. He even apologized to my husband. I have never met this guy in my life. Nothing I said or did made my husband believe me. He left me, and our divorce is pending. Then yesterday, that guy contacted me. He apologized for what he did and told me that he is friends with my brother-in-law. He sent me conversations, endless conversations my brother-in-law had about me for years. He has never forgotten that I, in his words, didn't even give him a chance and only judged him by his looks. He called me C in that chat. Both groups chats with his friends, but mostly with this guy. They planned this attack, and my brother-in-law somehow got access to my photos. The reason this guy contacted me now is that he felt guilty because even when my marriage is over, my brother-in-law still was angry and hateful, especially when he heard that I was on a date last weekend. So the friend felt that he didn't help his friend, but ruined innocent people's lives. Not sure what to do. My brother-in-law has actually been happier and more sociable than usual since my divorce, and now I know why, although first I thought he felt sorry and wanted to support me. His jokes about me ending up an old maid with cats as companions don't sound like jokes anymore. He meant them. I don't want to ruin my sister's life. She's very happy with her husband. I'm not sure either if I can with her husband. I'm not sure if I should tell my ex or not. I am very heartbroken that he didn't believe me. Love him very much. He is the love of my life, but I'm not sure if I can forgive him for not believing me. But he is a victim in this too, so maybe he needs to know for closure. I am so terribly sad and hurt. First update. My soon-to-be ex-husband knows everything now. Apparently the guy who contacted me contacted my husband at the same time and confessed to him. My soon-to-be ex is coming to town this weekend and he wants to talk. Afterwards, I will probably need to look into taking legal actions if that's possible and tell my family. I think now that exposing him is the best and more safe approach should anything more serious happen, at least people would be aware of who to blame. I want to at least make sure that my sister and her children are in safety before I tell them everything, like meeting them at my parents' house after I tell my parents. The picture were real and were probably stolen from my phone or my husband's because he is the only one that I took the pictures for. I don't know if I can get any justice since the pictures were not of my face. At least I was smart enough not to have my face shown in nudes. I don't know what will happen. Relevant comments before update. Commenter. So you're telling me that this guy has kept himself around you for 20 years and is still hung up on you rejecting him? It sounds like he's preyed on your sister to get close to you and will keep trying to ruin your life if you let him get away with this. You need to tell your sister what he did, and the guy he used needs to tell your ex what he did. Not to stir any pots or get your ex back, but so everyone knows what a psycho this guy is. If he's still trying to get back at you after decades of you simply rejecting him, he's never going to stop, and he's never going to let you be happy. Answer. Yes. He's been following me throughout my uni years and even afterwards. He found my sister and managed to charm her. When they got married, I was single, and apparently he was telling his friends how he was glad I was old and single and miserable, not my experience of my single life. Then, when I met my husband, he was angry because he didn't think I would find someone at my age, 33. Now, when we are getting a divorce, he was very pleased again, saying I would definitely never find someone at 38, that I would regret turning him down. But I was on a date last weekend, so he spiraled down again and was angry and wrote horrible things about me, so his friend chose to come forward because he thought that my divorce wasn't enough for this guy, his words. Mini update. I really don't have much to add. My sister is very angry. She said that I have ruined her husband's reputation because my ex has blasted him and his friend everywhere. Now he is talking about wanting to end his life because I ruined it because of a joke he played. My parents have told her everything the day everything was exposed, and apparently she believed them, me, at first, but now she has turned on me, so she is refusing to listen. I wish I could have a moment with her first before hell broke. On the husband. Comment 1. He is looking for jobs here because he wants to move back. I got very anxious and asked if he is doing this because of me because we are not together and this wasn't the right time to pressure me, but he said he was doing it for himself and that he doesn't want anything from me but that, and he doesn't want to leave town for brother-in-law to think he has easy prey to harm. I didn't ask about the one he is seeing. It felt it would disrespectful to interrogate him since I have no right to do that. Maybe it is not serious, or maybe she is willing to move here. I don't know. I have spoken to lawyers, they don't seem to think this could lead to anything. Comment 2. Yes, and he said that he couldn't just wait and let brother-in-law believe that I was alone and an easy prey. He said that police wouldn't do anything. He was right about that. And people like brother-in-law are better exposed to everyone because they value their image. He doesn't seem to be understanding of my sister, however, and the way she was put in the middle. He did apologize a lot, but probably only because I was distraught and upset about what he did. I don't think he regrets anything. He is very sad himself, and he's been apologizing all the time about everything, including not believing me or trusting his gut that believed me. My brother-in-law hasn't bothered me again since he tried to call me to threaten me after everything blew up because my ex went to his place again and threatened beating him up again. Now my sister is even angrier. Husband's relationship. Comment 1. Yeah, it is over. I don't think it was a serious relationship. I just heard rumors that he had a GF, but didn't know the details, so maybe I thought it was more serious than it was. Now he is moving back, and I haven't heard that someone is moving with him. So I don't know. We talk on the phone every day, but I don't want to pry. So far on any news on the BIL, he has filed no contact orders against my ex-husband and me. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.